Building and Deploying Rust Applications on AWS, a comprehensive guide. This podcast is brought to you by Business Compass LLC. We are an Amazon Web Services advanced consulting partner. We build and migrate workloads to Amazon Cloud. Our website is businesscompassllc.com. Our phone number is 973-638-2228. Our email address is contact@businesscompassllc.us. Rust is a systems programming language known for its speed, safety, and concurrency. With a robust infrastructure and services provided by Amazon Web Services, AWS, Rust can be a powerful tool for developers building scalable, efficient applications. This podcast will walk you through the essentials of Rust programming, integrating Rust with AWS, and deploying Rust applications on AWS. Introduction to Rust programming. Overview of Rust language features. Rust is designed for performance, safety, and exceptionally safe concurrency. Critical features of Rust include memory safety. Rust's ownership model ensures memory safety without needing a garbage collector. Concurrency. Rust prevents data races at compile time. Zero-cost abstractions. Rust's abstractions are as efficient as handwritten low-level code. Benefits of using Rust for system programming. High performance. Rust is as fast as C and C++. Memory safety. It eliminates many classes of bugs at compile time. Concurrency without data races. Rust's concurrency model ensures safe concurrent execution. Setting up Rust development environment. Install Rust. Use the official installer rustup to install Rust. curl proto equals https TLSV 1.2 ssh ///https://https:///rustup.rs/s/https://s/rustup.rs/. Configure your IDE. Install Rust extensions for Visual Studio Code or IntelliJ IDEA for a better development experience. Building a simple Rust application. Writing a basic Hello World program in Rust. Create a new Rust project using Cargo, Rust's build system and package manager. Cargo new hello_world. cd hello_world. Edit /main.rs. fn main. Print team. Hello world. Compiling and running Rust programs. Compile and run your program. Cargo run. Understanding Rust's ownership and borrowing system. Rust's ownership model ensures memory safety. The key concepts are ownership, borrowing, and lifetimes. Each value in Rust has a single owner, and Rust enforces strict borrowing rules to prevent data races. Introduction to AWS, Amazon Web Services overview of AWS services relevant to developers. EC2, virtual servers in the cloud. S3, scalable storage in the cloud. DynamoDB, managed NoSQL database. Lambda, serverless compute service. Setting up an AWS account. Sign up for an AWS account at aws.amazon.com. Configure your account and set up billing alerts. Basics of AWS CLI. Command line interface. Install AWS CLI. curl https://oscli.amazonoz.com/osclive2.pkg osclive2.pkg. sudo installer pkg osclive2.pkg target. Configure AWS CLI. AWS Configure. Integrating Rust with AWS using AWS SDK for Rust to interact with AWS services. The AWS SDK for Rust is currently in developer preview and can be used to interact with AWS services. Add the SDK to your cargo.tom. Dependencies. AWS config equals 0.0.26 alpha. AWS SDK S3 equals 0.0.26 alpha. Examples of AWS services integration, for example, S3, DynamoDB example, uploading a file to S3. Use AWS_SDK _S3 client. Use Tokio runtime #Tokio main async fn main. Let config equals AWS underscore config colon load underscore from underscore nv or wait. Let client equals client colon new and config. Let respec equals client. Dot put underscore object dot bucket my bucket. Key, my key. Body, hello, S3. Into dot send dot await. Println. Resp. Handling AWS authentication and permissions. Create roles and policies to manage permissions using AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM. Ensure your Rust application uses IAM roles securely. Deploying Rust applications on AWS. Creating and configuring AWS EC2 instances. Launch an EC2 instance using the AWS Management Console or CLI. Configure security groups and SSH access. Setting up Docker for Rust applications. Create a Docker file for your Rust application. From Rust Latest. workdir/usr/sashi/myapp. Copy, run cargo install path, cmd, myapp. Build and run the Docker image. Docker build t myapp. Docker run P8080 to 8080 myapp. Deploying Rust applications using AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Using the AWS Management Console, create an Elastic Beanstalk application and environment. Then, deploy your Dockerized Rust application to Elastic Beanstalk. Best practices and tips. Optimizing Rust code for AWS environments. Profiling and benchmarking. Use tools like Cargo Bench to profile and optimize your code. Minimize dependencies. Keep your application lightweight by minimizing dependencies. Handling errors and exceptions in Rust and AWS integration. Use Rust's result and option types for error handling. Implement proper logging and monitoring. Security considerations. When using Rust with AWS IAM policies, use the principle of least privilege for IAM policies. Data encryption. Encrypt sensitive data at rest and in transit. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this podcast, visit our website, and follow our social media links.